Hey y'all, it's Kate at Kate's Garden Chicken and Cat Rambles, and I'm coming back from the store today. You know, it's September, but we've still been hotter in Hades. Look, the trees are starting to change colors. Anyway, we're not in a drought. I mean, we've been dry the past week, but we're in no means in a drought where everything is just so starved for water. I mean, today, of course, we're getting a rainstorm. So I just decided to go around the block and make a little wee video about what I'm seeing, which is this tree's going. On my street, I can go a little slower. I'm on a street called Federal Street, which is the main street through Milton. Once you get to downtown, down that hill, then it becomes, they call it Union Street. This is my street, and I live at the very end of this street, out of town limits. Right now they're redoing sidewalks here, because of course parts of this corner didn't have sidewalks. Our town, pretty much like you see here, has sidewalks. Now the sidewalks end at town limits, which is a little bit before you get to my house. But take a picture of it, but I wanted to show right here at Chestnut Crossing. Behind me. Look at all those leaves. So I'm assuming those are maple leaves. Yeah, those are maple trees. But these aren't, you know, brown because of they've starved for water like you've been seeing out west. You know, we had a couple weeks where we got down in the 50s at night, and you know, we didn't get up out of the low 70s during the day, which was a fluke at the very end of August. But as you can see, like, the dogwood tree starting to turn golden. I think the one at my house is too. That's the Dogfish Head Brewery. There's their sign. So we're just taking a little stroll down my street here, Chestnut, in first gear. Shift a second. So that we would just take a slow creeping look at the things that are changing. But like, here's crepe myrtle, still in bloom. But you've got trees, these are all deciduous evergreens here, but I was just amazed to see that how many maple leaves were down. Now I have my one little maple in the yard that I rescued from a bucket and planted. And we'll see what we can shift up here. So we are leaving town, and right here at this driveway, 704 Chestnut, now we're out of town limits. You can see there's no sidewalks here, not a lot done here. A lot of people walk their dogs down this end of the street. People who live in neighborhoods with lots of places to walk their dogs. That's why we don't let our chickens run free. So, oops, sorry, there's the cornfield. Now I'm turning left in my driveway. And see, here's my little maple. And it's just as green as can be. So we've been having a couple days of rains and thunderstorms, which is nice. They have nothing to do with any tropical storms. And everything to do with just, you know, some inland weather. Sadly, it looks like we're not going to be getting anything from Tropical Storm Lee, which disappoints me. I've lived in North Carolina for 16 years, so I've ridden out a lot of hurricanes, even some while setting out on one of the barrier islands where, you know, they close the bridge at 6 o'clock, so you're stuck on the island. But anyhow, I was hoping for some tropical weather, just because I love a good storm, and not necessarily for it to barrel into our peninsula and the Northeast like Sandy did, but to cool things off. And what can I say? I love a storm. So here's my tarp all spread out. I came out yesterday. I was going to fold it over and get the carabiners in it so I could temporarily hang it somewhere so it wouldn't become a little pond. But yesterday there was no breeze, and the heat index was like 99. We had like 65-70% humidity. I was out here for about a half hour measuring and doing things with the chickens, and it about killed me. So it turns out that this tarp is 10 by 30, and I probably needed between, well, I used my measuring tape, but, hey Cosmo, each section between these poles here is 5 feet. So it's 5 wide, 15. So I was thinking I need at least, to go past the table, I need at least 25 to 27 feet once I wrap it around. So this is going to be perfect. The one end that, you know, if I have 3 or 4 feet extra, what I will do is it'll be at that end, and I'll just fold it over or fold it in, you know, to make the length I need. And I want it about 6.5 feet. From the bottom of this coop to the top, I believe it's considered 6 feet. I don't want it to go, I want it to just go to the top of that pole there and to the bottom. So I figured I'll fold it over a couple feet, because as I said in a previous video, I want to leave, you know, maybe 6 inches to a foot at the bottom. So if I do decide to weigh it down or put carabiners on the bottom to hold it, I'll have enough of a flap to either put something heavy on at the bottom, or enough of a flap to fold it and then put the carabiners through it. I may have to get some more carabiners. I can probably get away, I think I've got 10 big ones, so I can probably get away with going 6 in length. That's every 5 feet. We'll see. I think I'll use what I have instead of buying more, because I also have I still have lots of these really strong zip ties, and this one's not hooked up, but these really strong, they're clips. A friend of mine, a really good friend of mine, Sean, sent me a bag of them because he had found them on Amazon and was like so happy with them. So a couple of years ago, he sent me a bag of them to use in my garden, and I've used it in my garden. I've used them on the tarps. I think right over here you can see where I used it, right there in that spot, right there above the little soda. There's one of those rings and one of the zip ties. This is what those rings look like. They're cheap. You can get them on Amazon. I recommend it to anybody. You guys are out here. They're like, it stopped sprinkling. I went back to sleep after I let them out early this morning. I've been making them wait till 6:30 at least. This morning I made them wait till 7 because it was really dark outside. And though they have this hawk net, which sags in the rain, yesterday afternoon I came out and there was a big black vulture over in this part of their yard, which is not covered with any kind of bird net. We have some extra bird net, we just haven't bothered with it. It's been too hot this summer for them to spend a lot of time over here. Certain times of day they'll get under that little oak tree there and that little whatever tree that is. But we definitely needed the rain. So that's a big watermelon. Here's a couple big watermelons that are bigger, probably the size of most people's biggest bowling balls. Snow peas, beets, watermelon. Tomatoes are hanging in there, but they're about done. Greek oregano, Greek basil, Greek oregano. I still have not got around to clipping them off and hanging them and drying them out. I found a recipe, or I saw a lady online who talks about how you can freeze these without having to dehydrate them first. And it's all about, you can even do it in just regular baggies. I have some vacuum seal bags. I probably need to get some more if I decide to do it that way. But as long as you dry them out after you've rinsed them, you can leave them on their little stalk. And well, she left some on the stalk. These I may leave on the stalk. I may go ahead and take them off the stalk, even though they're little basil leaves are small. And you can get quite a bit in a baggie. The trick is just making sure you get all the air out. Air is your enemy in that sense. But so Cosmo's walking around jabbering at me. He's like, "Woman, you got frozen food in the car." Yeah, I just came back from the grocery store, so I made that little bit of video, and of course I had to take a peek at my chickens. And then this, you know, I'm sure people are driving by going, "What the heck? What's that big black thing in her yard?" At least I didn't leave the hot pink side up. Then they'd be like, "What the hell is this person going to do to their house?" Yeah, no hot pink for me. So anyway, it's still a little bit misty. My puddle's still full. My puddle at the end of the driveway is full. Yeah, this needs to be filled in with some rock or something, but that's Paul. That's all Paul. So anyhow, I'm gonna go in, take my groceries in. I'm making chicken stir fry, so I had to go get some stir fry vegetables, and I ended up getting my puff Cheetos, which I like them better than the chip. I mean, it's probably not that much better, but they were marked, every one on every row, all of it, whether it was white cheddar or yellow cheddar. I'm sorry, Paul starts, the car's a mess because Paul just collects everything in it, were marked $3.79. So I went to checkout, and each bag was coming up $5.79. And I'm not a cheapie, you know, but I was certainly not going to pay almost $6 for this one little bag of puff cheese. So I was halfway to the car, and I pulled out my receipt, and I was looking at it, and it was ringing, and I said, the heck with it, I'm just going to go back in. And the girl looked at it, and it turned out that whoever had stocked the shelves had put the wrong size. I guess that was supposed to be for like the 5 point so many ounces, and someone had put the 9 point so many ounces on the shelf instead. And the entire shelves were loaded with the larger bags, but under the sale price. So she ended up giving both of my bags free. Hey, that's fine. I mean, all I was hoping is that she would just readjust it, you know. When you're a poor middle-aged woman like me, $4 makes a difference, you know. Not that you could buy any kind of a package of meat or anything really with $4, but you know, I live on a budget, and I budget my groceries, and I don't buy things that I know blatantly that I cannot afford. You know, I have a certain amount of money I have a month to spend on groceries, and if I go over, then Paul and I end up dipping into ones that, oh, another pullet egg. So I got 2 eggs this morning, a small yellow, orange one, brown one, and a green one. Miss Daisy is pushing 24 hours of being on this nest box. Ow, ow, is there an egg under there? She's not laying, but she's being broody. If I take her out, she just stalks and whines and cries and goes back in there. So today she doesn't need this little fan, which is good because the battery died. It's pretty cool today. I think we're still in the 70s. I need to go take this one in and put it in the charger, but I'm not going to force her to get out. I've already checked her. She has no parasites. She has no poo problems. Her gold lace wind outside is just telling her to be broody. I think that conflicts with her leghorn side, who's not realizing that there are no eggs under you, Missy. Now, she's been seeing with several videos. So I looked out the window this morning about 10:30. I went back to bed for a few hours, and they were all up in here. So that was all nice and cleaned out. So now I'm going to have to go in there and scrape that all out. And hopefully once fall gets here, I'll cut some little windows in it. That way they have a place, even this winter, they can get out of the snow. It's not going to be some place that's going to be for them to coop up all night. But I've decided the disc that I cut out to make the windows, which are going to be in the middle of the sunflowers that are going to be painted on the outside, I will save. And if I need to, I'll buy some small like jewelry box hinges, something where I can hinge that window, and then I can close it just in case for any reason, like there's a horrible storm blowing from the north, or I end up needing to have to close that little shack off and make it an enclosed coop again this winter, in case the boys decide that they're only going to be happy if they have a bro pen. But I like them out here. They're very protective. A lot of their crowing is when I come out or when I'm talking. They're very good at alerting their females. I mean, they're doing what roosters are supposed to do. Roosters crow just for attitude and to show that they're top of the pecking order. Plus, we are so many trees and so much around us that anytime they see something, even way up high out of the corner of their eye, they'll crow. You know, they always sound the alarm and they always make their presence known. And Cosmo's always chasing the girls. But anyhow, so we're having some weird activity. Like, there's some Virginia creeper turning yellow. I don't care if it turns yellow. But then I still got freaking pokeberry vines everywhere. And I cut them out, and they come back so fast. So this fall, I'm really going to try to get all that stuff cut down waist high too. and then go ahead and try to find a way, if we can't dig out all the pokeberry vines, because I've noticed, like, I go in and cut them from the base every year, so that anything that's still there I can just rip out and pull out, and look at it. And I don't know. We'll figure out something. I've got this little pullet egg in my pocket. Very small. So this must have been another one of Lily's. I gave him the green pullet egg this morning. The pullet egg, well, no, I kept one. One I thought was a tan pullet egg, but it was bigger than this, so it's a small egg. I kept it, but these little pullet ones that are just too small to really make sense in any kind of recipe or to use. I fried one up one day and I was like, oh, I can't even make an egg sandwich with this little egg. There we go. I just feed it to them. Chickens have salmonella already in their body. They're not going to get salmonella poisoning from eating a raw egg. We've had this discussion. It's just extra protein. And as if you heard, I had to tap that a couple times to get it to crack open. So anyhow, yeah, you can see a little bit of change in these leaves here, even in this tree, which it has the same leaves and kind of branch types as the Kentucky coffee bean tree, but the Kentucky coffee bean tree drops these huge 7-inch long, 2-inch wide pods. So I'm not quite sure what this is. I probably need to find an identifier. It needs to come out. Apparently years before I moved here, Paul cut a tree down here, but he never killed the stump. So, and I of course haven't made a big deal about it because I mean, I think it's pretty. It's kind of bohemian wild looking, and it provides some shade for my hydrangeas. But anywho, I'm going to stop rambling. The yucca's doing great. Only one bloomed this year. This one now has a twin sister, which is actually its daughter. And the original one over here looks a little worse for wear because I don't baby it when I weed eat or mow around it, but I don't know the life of a yucca, the original yucca. It had been probably in the neighbor's yard for 15, 20 years before they dug it up and I started it. But you can see I've got nice young yuccas growing here. So, and this area, of course, doesn't get as much sun as it used to since this tree has gotten so much bigger. But when you digging these up and transporting them, they have a huge, more like a root tuber. They have a huge root tuber system, and they're heavy, and of course these things can poke your eyes out. So if I can get Paul to come with a bucket truck and top this, at least on this side, I want to keep whatever shade's going to land on my hydrangeas, but I would like the yuccas to get some more sun. I'm going to thin out and cut the rose bushes. I'm going to cut them down about waist high this summer. I shaped them last year so they're shaped like a V, but they're just getting too big. But yeah. See, this is my dogwood, and you can see where it's starting to change some of its leaves, but not as much as that one I saw when we passed. But it's starting to make its little berries, and it does that for fall. You don't typically see them in the summer. And this is just stuff, some more pokeberry, or I don't know if that's, yeah, I don't know if that's pokeberry, or that might be some of that white stuff, I don't know. But this all needs to be taken out. And once again, my weed, the weed eater that I can handle, weight-wise, still kills my elbows and my wrists where I have arthritis, but it's just not powerful enough to take this out. We need Paul's really gas-powered. Plus, I need to come, and this limb of the dogwood, I need to cut it off just past, probably right about here. Because when I mow under it, I just kind of hit the gas and use my hands and lift the tree up over my head. So, a lot of people were mowing yesterday, even though we had sporadic rain, but you can see how the grass isn't as lush and green. It's been over a week since I mowed, and I don't really need to mow again right now. It's not blatantly bad. Some people would go ahead and mow, but I'll wait later in the week when it's supposed to cool down and see how that goes. But look, yeah, like I said when I pulled in, my maple is all green. Doesn't even have a single fallen leaf, but the other one did. So you never know. Could be they could have a sandy or not as good of a soil. But yeah, I got the same wind and rain they did. But all right, I know. weird, odd stuff to ramble about. Bye, y'all.